Welcome back to another Star Mini Gaming YouTube video, and once again we are continuing on our Rebel week of the X-Wing tactics, and today we're discussing the A-Wing, and a ship that first appeared in episode 6 of Star Wars that I thought was one of the ugliest things I'd ever seen on the big screen. In the lore, it's basically the Rebels' counter to the TIE Interceptor and other super speedy kind of flanker ships. And in-game, it fills that role really well. It has a base stat line of only 2 attacks, but 3 evasion dice, and then 2 hull and 2 shields. So really similar to the Z95 Headhunter that we covered in the previous video, except with the 1 extra evasion die. And to me, it used to be that aside from maybe Tycho, these were unfieldable ships. Their points were just too heavy in terms of the point investment to make them really worth it. Obviously, they were super fast, super maneuverable, as you can see from the dial. But just to pay that heavy of a points for just a base standard. Just wasn't worth it. But now, since the Rebel Aces pack has come out, my tune has changed, and I hardly ever run a list of Rebels without at least 1 A-Wing. And that's due to a couple wonderful upgrades, but the most important one is the Chardron refit, which is a missile upgrade that reduces the cost of your A-Wing by 2 points, bringing your prototype pilot, your cheapest one, down to 15. Which is, only 3 points more than the Z95 Headhunter to increase your evasion by 1, to give you a faster maneuver dial, and to give you more options in terms of you also have the boost and evadability standard. So, for only 3 points to add really those 4 things, I think is well worth it in most cases if you can swing the points. So I do like to take the prototype pilot. It's cheap, speedy, can fill a role that you may need. But the one that I bring the most often and is the real hero of the Rebel Aces pack for myself, and is my number one go-to for A-Wings, and I bring him probably more than any other ship simply because he's not super points heavy. I mean, he is pretty. He's going to be about a third of your points, but unlike guys like Corrin who eat half your points, at least you can bring it 2 or more ships with this guy, and that's Jake Farrell. Really good little ship. Pilot skill of 7 with a pilot ability of after you perform a focus action or are assigned a focus token, you may perform a free boost or barrel roll action. Pretty good. Pretty good. So I like to give him as the Chardron refit as well. And A-Wing Test Pilot, which is a title upgrade that gives you 1 additional pilot skill slot for your ship. And I like to give Jake both outmaneuver, which says when attacking a ship inside your firing arc, if you are not inside that ship's firing arc, reduces agility by 1, and push the limit. Once per round after you perform an action, you may perform 1 free action shown in your action bar, then receive 1 stress token. So push the limit is pretty self-explanatory. It gives you that additional action that can really help in the game. And outmaneuver, in my opinion, is one of the most important upgrades you can give an A-Wing, especially. But outmaneuver really helps the A-Wing because they only have the 2 attack die standard. So if you're able to use outmaneuver and get within range 1 of an opponent, you suddenly gain 3 attack dice and reduce their agility by 1. So it definitely helps the A-Wing to score actual hits on an opponent, since they have what is a pretty low amount of attack dice for a Rebel ship, especially with as points heavy as A-Wings can be. But due to the A-Wing test pilot and the Chardron refit, all this for Jake only comes out to a total of 28 points, When he comes standard at 24 before any upgrades for 4 points more, I think he's well worth giving those upgrades, because push the limit with his pilot special allows him to actually perform 3 actions per turn. You use focus as your first action, which allows you to do a free booster barrel roll. Well, you need to choose to barrel roll because he does not have, A-Wings do not have that standard on their action bar. So you barrel roll, and then you activate push the limit because you've used your action, and you may perform 1 free action showing your action bar, which you then boost. So it allows Jake to boost and barrel roll and focus all in 1 turn, which boost and barrel roll by themselves, even without the focus, is really good for getting outside of enemy firing arcs and putting them within yours, which is why outmaneuver pairs so well with that. And then in addition, reducing your opponent's number of defense dice while also having that focus to turn each single die's chance of hitting from a 50 to a 75% chance of scoring a hit is pretty significant. So all that together definitely makes Jake Farrell a well-rounded ship that can be surprisingly good at scoring hits on your own opponent. I know it was a pretty short video, but I mean, I feel like A-Wings are pretty self-explanatory. They have a good role that they fill, which is kind of a flanker, and can guard your own flanks from enemy speedy ships, and a good counter to really fast ships such as the Interceptor, because they are a little bit more survivable. I think they're well worth including in almost any Rebel list, especially if you bring Jake Farrell with the particular build that I mentioned. So I hope you enjoyed that, and stay tuned next time for whenever we discuss the Outrider and Millennium Falcon ships. Happy gaming.